It was an ordinary afternoon at the downtown train station. Hustle, horns, coffee cups, crowds moving like waves. Among them sat Vanessa Langford, poised as always, perfectly tailored coat heels, tapping softly against the marble floor. She was elegance personified, known by many in the city for her philanthropy art shows and presence in society pages. But that day, Vanessa was not here for glamour. She sat quietly on a bench, clutching her purse and lost in thought. A silver necklace with a delicate locket rested on her chest, gleaming even under the station's dull lighting. Across from her, sitting cross-legged on the cold floor, was a young boy, no older than 9, ripped jeans, dusty sneakers, a tattered backpack, a peanut butter sandwich in one hand, but his eyes fixed unblinking on her necklace. Not her outfit, not her expensive bag, just the necklace. At first, Vanessa ignored it, then shifted uncomfortably, checked her reflection in her phone, cleared her throat. Still the boy stared, not with greed, not even with curiosity. It was something deeper, almost reverent. Finally, Vanessa looked up and offered a polite, "Can I help you?" The boy blinked, startled. "Sorry," he muttered. She gave a tight smile and returned to her phone. But after a pause, the boy spoke again, and what he said next made Vanessa freeze. He said, "That necklace, it looks just like the one my mom wore before she died." The noise of the station seemed to fade in that moment. Vanessa slowly turned her head. His voice cracked as he added, "I haven't seen anything like it since. You even wear it the same way." She stared at him now, really stared. There was something painfully honest in his voice. No manipulation, no trick, just a boy, holding a sandwich with both hands, trying not to cry. What were the odds? What were the chances? The necklace on Vanessa's chest was one of a kind, or so she thought, and yet somehow, this boy remembered it too. That moment was the beginning of a conversation, of a revelation, of a connection that would unravel a secret neither of them saw coming. And by the end of it, Vanessa Langford, graceful, guarded, composed, would be crying in the middle of a train station because of one boy and one truth she never expected. Vanessa sat in stunned silence, unsure what to say. The boy didn't ask for anything. He didn't move closer. He just sat there, legs tucked beneath him, staring at the necklace like it was a memory made real. What was your mother's name?" Vanessa asked cautiously. The boy's eyes softened. Alyssa Monroe." Vanessa felt something flicker in her chest. That name, it rang a bell. She couldn't place it, but it wasn't unfamiliar. And more than that, something in the boy's eyes stirred a strange ache inside her. She glanced down at her locket. She hadn't taken it off in over 20 years. Inside, it was a tiny picture of a baby. No name, no frame, just a photo faded from time. It had been a gift, given to her by someone long ago. She leaned forward. "Where do you live, sweetheart?" The boy hesitated. "Around." That's not an answer. He looked down, then muttered, "Shelter." "Sometimes." Vanessa's voice softened. "Are you alone?" He nodded once. "My aunt's supposed to come back for me. She just gets busy." The woman stared at him. Everything about this child felt familiar. Not in a way she could explain, but in the way that stirred something deep and buried. His cheekbones, the curl in his hair, the way he tilted his head, exactly like someone she used to know. Vanessa swallowed hard and asked the question carefully. "How long ago did your mother pass?" The boy picked at the crust of his sandwich. 4 years. I was 5. "And your dad?" "Never met him." She took a breath. "Do you have a picture of your mom?" He reached into his backpack, pulled out a folded piece of paper. It wasn't a photo. It was a drawing, a child's sketch, crude but full of love. A woman with a big smile, and a necklace drawn in great detail, right there around her neck. Vanessa reached up and touched hers without thinking. It was the same. She whispered, "Where did your mom get this necklace?" The boy shrugged. "I don't know. She said it was special. One of a kind. She always wore it." Vanessa felt a chill run down her arms. Her voice trembled. "That necklace was mine first. I gave it away. A long time ago." The boy looked up, eyes wide. "To who?" Vanessa stared into the distance, her memory pulling her backward, toward a part of her life she'd locked away. "I think I gave it to a friend," she said slowly. "But I never knew she had a child." Vanessa couldn't shake the name from her head. Alyssa Monroe. It tugged at something deep, like a forgotten song lyric, floating just out of reach. She'd heard that name before, not just in passing. It was tied to her past, her youth. She leaned in, her voice gentler now. "Tell me more about your mom." The boy perked up, grateful to speak of her. "She loved music, sang all the time, and when she was sad. Especially when she was sad." Vanessa's eyes widened. So did Alyssa. She had a voice like honey, soft and aching, the kind that made you stop whatever you were doing just to listen. Vanessa whispered, "Did she ever sing Moon River?" The boy nodded instantly. "Every night before bed." Vanessa gasped. That was their song. Her and Alyssa, college roommates, in a rundown apartment with more dreams than money. They used to sit on the fire escape, Alyssa humming Moon River, while Vanessa tried to paint the skyline. They were inseparable, until the day Alyssa vanished without a word. Vanessa leaned back, stunned. Her mind raced with memories, laughing over instant noodles, dancing barefooted on hardwood floors, sharing secrets about love and regret. But Alyssa had left, and Vanessa had never known why. Now, decades later, this boy, her son, was sitting in front of her, holding her locket like a bridge between two lives. "What's your name?" she asked. He hesitated. "Jaden." "Jaden," she repeated, as if tasting it, and for a moment her voice cracked. "Jaden, how old are you?" "9," he said proudly. "Well, almost 10. In October." Vanessa's heart thudded. The math made sense. If Alyssa had passed 4 years ago, she would have had Jaden in her late 20s, after college, after she left, which meant Vanessa closed her eyes. The locket, the memories, the necklace she'd given her best friend. Was it possible? She stared at Jaden and asked the question that terrified her. "Did your mom ever talk about her past? Where she went to school?" He nodded. "She said she lived in New York for a while. Had a friend who used to paint." Vanessa covered her mouth. That was her. This wasn't a coincidence. This was fate, calling her back to something unfinished. Jaden looked nervous. "Did you know my mom?" Vanessa nodded slowly. "Yes, a long time ago. She was my best friend." His eyes lit up. "Really?" "Yes," she said, a smile trembling on her lips. "She was everything." Jaden reached into his bag again. "Wait, I have something." He pulled out a small old photo. Worn edges, bent corners, but unmistakable. 2 girls sitting on a fire escape. One with a paintbrush in hand, the other with her head on her shoulder laughing. Vanessa almost dropped it. That was them. The life she thought she had lost. Vanessa held the photo with trembling hands. It was like holding a piece of her soul. There she was, barely 20, hair messily tied back, paint smudged on her cheek. And beside her, Alyssa, eyes squinting from laughter, clinging to her shoulder like nothing in the world could separate them. Vanessa hadn't seen this photo in decades. She never even knew Alyssa had a copy. "I thought this was lost forever," she whispered, eyes misting. Jaden smiled. "Mom kept it in a box with her special things. She called it the happy fire escape. Said it was her favorite place ever." Vanessa let out a small laugh, choked with emotion. "It was ours," she said. "We used to dream about everything we'd do. I wanted to paint in Paris. She wanted to open a jazz cafe. We were going to do it together." Jaden's face softened. "What happened?" Vanessa swallowed hard. "I don't know. One day she just disappeared. No note, no message. She was gone. Jaden looked down. She never talked about why, only said she made mistakes and lost someone important. Vanessa looked at him carefully. Did she ever mention me? He nodded. She said she had a friend named Ness. She always smiled when she said that name. Vanessa blinked. She still called me that. Jaden's smile widened. Said no one ever called her Liz the same way. The weight of unfinished years settled between them. All the birthdays missed. The hugs not given. The words never said. And now only this boy, this bright, soulful boy, remained to carry it forward. Vanessa asked gently Jaden, "Where are you staying tonight?" He shrugged. "Probably the shelter again. Or Aunt Carly's. Depends if she remembers." Vanessa's face fell. "You shouldn't be alone." "Not like this." Jaden gave a quiet shrug. "I'm used to it." "No, sweetheart," Vanessa said firmly. "You shouldn't be." She looked at him again more closely this time. There was something undeniably familiar in his presence. Not just his features, but the way he listened. The quiet strength. She had seen it before. In Alyssa. In the mirror. "Would it be all right?" She asked if I walked you to the shelter. Jaden nodded. "Okay, it's not far." Vanessa stood, slipped the photo into her purse, and reached out. Jaden hesitated for a second, then took her hand. It was small, cold, but trusting. As they walked out of the station, the silver locket bounced gently against Vanessa's chest. For the first time in years, she felt it, not just the weight of it, but the meaning. And in that moment, she knew this wasn't over. This wasn't just a reunion. It was a beginning. The shelter was tucked between two aging buildings on a quieter block of the city. It wasn't glamorous. Flickering lights cracked pavement, but it was warm inside. And the volunteers knew Jaden by name. "Hey, kiddo," one of them said. "Your aunt hasn't come by yet." Jaden just nodded and slipped into a chair by the corner. Vanessa stood at the doorway looking entirely out of place in her tailored coat and polished shoes. But she didn't move. She was still trying to process it all. How Alyssa had vanished. How she'd become a mother. And how her son now sat here alone, yet kind and open, and still willing to smile. She sat down beside him. "Do you come here a lot?" she asked softly. Jaden shrugged. "Aunt Carly tries, but she works a lot. Sometimes I stay with other families. Sometimes I wait here." Vanessa's chest tightened. "And school?" "Yeah, I go. I like art," he added, glancing up. "I draw a lot." She smiled. "Just like your mom." He nodded. "And like you too, I guess." She paused. "Would you like to show me some of your drawings?" He hesitated, then reached into his bag and pulled out a stack of folded paper. She unfolded one and gasped. It was stunning. Rough around the edges, sure, but full of emotion. There was depth, imagination, pain, and hope, all poured into the lines of charcoal and pencil. She looked up at him. "You have a gift." He beamed. "Thanks. I draw when I miss her. It helps me remember stuff." Vanessa stared at the drawing again. A woman's silhouette on a fire escape, moonlight in the background, her head tilted to the sky. It was Alyssa. It had to be. A volunteer called across the room. "Still no sign of Carly. Looks like we're putting him in the overnight again." Vanessa stood up. "No," she said. Everyone looked over. "I'll take him." There was a stunned silence. "Ma'am," the volunteer asked, "I'll stay with him tonight. Or take him somewhere safe. I'll do whatever paperwork you need." Jaden's eyes widened. "You'd do that?" She looked at him. "I lost your mother once. I won't lose you too." He said nothing, just got up, walked over, and hugged her. It was small, gentle, but full of every unspoken word. She hadn't heard from Alyssa in 20 years, and she held him like he was family, because he was. That night, Vanessa booked a suite at a quiet hotel. Jaden got his own bed, bubble bath, and room service. He looked around like he'd stepped into another world. She ordered hot chocolate. They talked late into the evening. About school, about Alyssa, about life. And when Jaden finally drifted off to sleep, with the blanket pulled to his chin and one of his sketches clutched in his hand, Vanessa sat in the armchair by the window, looking out over the city. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I found you, Lice, and I promise I'll take care of him." The next morning, Vanessa woke early. Jaden was still asleep, curled up peacefully. She watched him for a moment, his quiet breathing, the way his hand clutched his sketch like it was a treasure. Then she reached for her phone and called someone she hadn't spoken to in years. "Diana, it's Vanessa. I need a favor. Do you remember Alyssa Monroe?" A long pause. Then, "Of course. From college, right? You two were attached at the hip." Vanessa's voice cracked. "I think I found her son." Another pause. "Oh, Ness." By afternoon, Vanessa had called her lawyer, then a private investigator, then a social worker she trusted. She wasn't going to do this halfway. Jaden deserved more than comfort. He deserved stability, and maybe a family. That night, Jaden and Vanessa sat on a park bench, sharing fries from a paper bag. He looked up at her. "Why are you being so nice to me?" She smiled gently. "Because once, a long time ago, your mom gave me a gift I never got to return." What was it? Her heart, her friendship, her laughter. She saved me in ways I never admitted back then. Jaden stayed quiet. Then he asked, "Do you think she's mad?" I didn't remember her face exactly. Vanessa shook her head. "Not for a second. She'd be so proud of you, of how strong you are, of how kind." He looked away. "I wish she could see me now." "She does," Vanessa whispered. "I think that's why you saw this necklace, why you stared. I think she sent you to me." Jaden blinked slowly, and maybe, just maybe, he believed her. Later that evening, Vanessa opened the locket again. Inside was the tiny photo of the baby she had kept all these years, Alyssa's baby. Alyssa had sent it to her one spring morning, with no return address, just the photo, and a note that read, "His name is Jaden. I wish I could give him the world, but I think you were always meant to be part of his." Vanessa had never understood it, not until now. She looked at the boy beside her, his heart, his soul, his gentle spirit, and she realized that Alyssa hadn't just left her a memory. She had left her a legacy. A week passed. Vanessa had arranged everything: background checks, legal consultations, even a meeting with a caseworker from the Department of Family Services. She didn't want to just offer Jaden a night in a hotel. She wanted to offer him a home. But first she had to ask him. One evening they sat together in the quiet corner of a small art museum, one of Vanessa's favorite places. Jaden had never been inside one before, and his eyes sparkled at every sculpture and painting they passed. Now they sat in front of a giant oil canvas lights, low room still. "Jaden," Vanessa said gently, "can I ask you something important?" He nodded, swinging his legs beneath the bench. "I've talked to some people, grown-up people, lawyers and caseworkers, and I'd like to take care of you. Not just for a night, not just until your aunt remembers, but for real." He turned slowly to look at her. "I mean, would you want to live with me?" Jaden blinked. "You mean like forever?" Vanessa smiled, heart thudding. "Yes, if you want. I can't ever replace your mom, and I wouldn't try, but I could be here every day for the big stuff and the little stuff, the school pickups, the drawings on the fridge, the nightmares, the birthdays, all of it." Jaden looked down. His hands were trembling slightly. "I used to wish someone would say that," he whispered, "but I stopped hoping." Vanessa reached over and took his hand. "Well, start hoping again, because I mean it. I want to be your person." He didn't speak. Instead, he threw his arms around her and held on with everything he had. And in that museum, surrounded by old paintings and silent hallways, Vanessa Langford felt more alive than she had in years. Later that night, Jaden asked to see the photo inside the locket again. Vanessa handed it to him carefully. He stared at the faded baby picture. "That's me," she nodded. "Your mom sent it to me when you were born. I didn't understand why back then, but I think she was asking me to keep you safe." Even if she couldn't, Jaden held the locket close to his chest. "I think she knew," he whispered. "She always said, one day someone special will find you. Someone who sees you." Vanessa touched his cheek. "I see you, Jaden. I always will." Spring came quietly that year. Jaden moved in with Vanessa. By the end of the month, his room had skylights, shelves filled with art supplies, and a wall for every sketch he ever wanted to hang. At school, he started thriving, not just in art class, but everywhere. He had someone cheering for him at every recital, someone to pack his lunch, someone to listen when nightmares still came. Vanessa had never imagined motherhood this way, arriving not in the way most expect, but like a sunrise after a long night. She didn't just gain a child, she gained a reason. One afternoon, while cleaning out an old jewelry box, Vanessa found a second chain silver like hers, with a small heart-shaped charm. She took it to Jaden. "I want you to have this," she said softly. He opened the box, eyes wide. "It matches yours," he whispered. "It does," Vanessa said. "And I wanted to remind you that you'll never be alone again. Wherever you go, whoever you become, this will always be your home." Jaden held it like a medal. Then he surprised her with a question. "Can I put a picture in it?" She nodded. "Of course." He ran to his room, came back with a photo. It was the sketch of his mother, smiling on the fire escape moonlight above her. Vanessa placed it inside the charm, hands steady. Now, both of them wore a piece of Alyssa close to their hearts. Years passed. Jaden grew. His drawings turned into paintings, then exhibitions, then scholarship offers. He would go on to tell his story, his mom's story, to rooms full of strangers. But he always started with one sentence. "I kept staring at a necklace, and somehow it stared back." And Vanessa, she never stopped wearing her locket. Not because it was elegant, but because it carried the moment everything changed. The moment love, grief, and hope collided on a bench in a train station. She'd often say, "That necklace brought me my son." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us below, what's an unexpected connection that changed your life? And we'll see you in the next story right here on Life Plot Twist, where every moment could be the one that changes everything.